Hello, grade six. Welcome to Tuesday. Today, we are going to be reflecting on some of your work so that you have time to make changes before your work is due on Friday. So, I have been looking through your notes and your sources in Noodle Tools, and I want to help you today to make improvements. Okay. So, I'm not going to project the full screen because I have quite a few tabs that I want you to access and see. So, just going through the weekly objectives, documenting sources using Noodle Tools. Here's the big one for Tuesday. I can edit and revise my notes from resources that I find valuable. And then I can share and expand on the seven spokes of civilization through my visual. So for today, you are in the middle of your Ed puzzle now. I'm going to ask you to continue your Noodle Tools work. So cleaning up your notes and your sources and getting them organized. And then you will work on your video and then you will ask any questions. Okay? So um, let's go ahead and look at your checklist for today. So you're obviously watching the Ed puzzle now, and then you're gonna review Noodle Tools. So I'm gonna walk you through that, and then I'm gonna have you do it. So answer the Google Classroom question stream when you've already reviewed Noodle Tools. So check Monday's answers, add any new questions you have. Then you're gonna work on your visual. Okay. So let's talk about Noodle Tools. I want to quickly run back to the rubric and show you if you were going to grade yourself on these first two standards, your evidence would be through Noodle Tools. So conducting short research projects and gathering the information, avoiding plagiarism. So I want you to look at this. So when we talk about using Noodle Tools, am I copying notes that begin to answer questions? So you might find this text and say, this is great. This answers my question. But if all you've done is copy and paste it, you're falling into this category. If you are annotating and summarizing and putting it in your own words, it's going to come over here into this one. If you're taking good paraphrased notes and you are putting your own ideas in there and you are properly citing that on Noodle Tools, you will fall in this third category. And if you are quoting information that's really important to your question and personalizing it, so that would be kind of summarizing those quotations into your jot notes and then into your ideas, that will bump you up to a 4, okay? And also making corrections from feedback from teachers. All right, so let's go back and look at what that might look like in your slides. I've pulled up a few student pieces of student work that I've looked at today, and I want to go over those together. So just because it looks busy does not mean that it is going to get you the top scores, okay? Obviously, you have to have your source. That looks great here. I'm not too worried about page tags and cues, okay? So, wow, there's quite a bit of quoting here. One little summarized point and then no ideas. If I were going to grade this on the rubric, I see copied notes and really not much else. That would not meet the standard, okay, for sixth grade. So, what's missing here? It's okay to quote if you then summarize in your own words, because what's actually here, this summarized sentence about religion being important to the Shang dynasty, impacting government economy, none of that is up here. Um, Other than actually, this point here is good. The Shang would consult kind of in their religious beliefs to get approval for major decisions and to learn about future success in harvesting, hunting, battle. Those go together pretty well. But not all of this is represented in the summarization or in the students' ideas. Okay. So I put in there, there's no student ideas. What did you actually learn from this information? This student is on the right track. They're just not fully done. Okay. So they've made a great point here based off of this final bullet point of quoted work, but they don't have their own ideas in there. Okay. Then looking at this one, what's missing from this card? I think we can see right away one thing is very obvious. There's no source. I don't even know where the student learned any of this information from. So the next thing is I kind of looked through here and there's some good points, but they're very short. Many religious art or mainly religious art. Okay, that's important if we're talking about a specific civilization. Terracotta warriors, exclamation points. Uh, what region would that have been in, right? Because that's in modern day China, correct? So that's not to say that it wouldn't have been in ancient civilization, what we might contribute to India, but I have a little question raised there. So maybe they just need to put some more details. Prehistoric rock art, well, that's really interesting, but prehistoric does not relate back to civilization, right? Because that's when we would have started kind of documenting history. Art sculptures, that's great, but that's very kind of it's not a lot of detail to that. Statues depicted animals. Religious themed art, that's a great point. Here's something I found interesting. They wrote Taj Mahal, which, you know what? It is something we talk about today as Indian, part of Indian artistic culture. But look at their point down here. India was the birthplace of many religious and artistic wonders. So, what's the connection there? I also think they made nice things like Taj Mahal, which is the Mughal Empire. I'm not sure it's about ancient India. That's a great point. The Mughal Empire would not have been ancient India by any means. So, this point does not actually answer this question. Okay. And so, if I see information here that's not correct, I think this student, they actually said this. I'm not sure. Then you need to edit and make improvements, right? Ask a new question. So, what's wrong with this one? There's no source, and this question should be revised. The information, okay? So the bullet points are a little bit bland, and I mean, I like that they even sort of clarified that they're having new questions. But if your information is not answering your question, then your research isn't done. All right, let's look at one more. What do you think of this note card? The Gods and Goddesses of Ancient Rome from National Geographic. Okay, they've got a specific date. They've got a URL to access it. They've got a date that they accessed it, November 30th, which means they were doing their work on time. So I'm proud of them. Okay, what values or beliefs did ancient Romans possess? Great question. Look at all these bullet points in their own words. This student did not bother with a quote, and that's okay because just based off of their uh, summarization, the quote would probably be the entire article, right? So they've taken great jot notes. They worship many gods and goddesses. Great point. Within the empire, early Christianity and Judaism were present. Great point. So that's showing the religious aspect. The I probably meant deities, or maybe they worshipped, helped find the empire as well as help shape their day to day lives. They tribute to their gods in public places, at spaces, and at home. That's a cool point. Anyways, you could go through this and you can see Jupiter, Juno, Minerva, major gods. Like they've got great bullet points with not direct quotations. And then they even admit it. Here's a summarization of what they wrote. And so they've got this great summary. I actually read through the rest of it. It's a really good summary that shows they combined all of this learning to answer their questions about the beliefs of ancient Romans. So when we talk about religion, okay? I would be really, really happy if everyone's notes looked like this. Is the source documented? Yes, right here. Do they have jot notes? Absolutely, in their own words, not copied and pasted. Do they have their own ideas? Yes, down here at the bottom after their summarization. So this is great. This is what I'm looking for. I would like for you to use these two examples or three examples to help improve yours. So going back to your Noodle tools and looking here at, say, your 6 resources for this student and 7 note cards, have, if they were to open up their note cards, okay, and one great way to do this, and I'm pretty sure yours shows the same thing in the detailed view. If I click on detailed view and open, you can actually open all the note cards and then seeing, okay, here's a New ZLA one, food in ancient Greece. They've got their source documented. They've got pretty sparse bullet points, but I've actually read this article and that's pretty decent for this article. It's not too long of an article. And then great ideas for themselves. So a good, my idea, what they have learned from here. I'd be happy with this note card as well. Okay. I know the one I showed you was quite long. But some sources are not as long, and that's okay. I want you to go back and look in your Noodle tools, and check all of your note cards. Okay. So That is your goal for today. I want you to take a break now and go back and right now look at your noodle tools and see if they are acceptable. So do that now. Okay, you are one of the students who is up to date and caught up. I'd like for you to go to Google Classroom question stream and answer or ask, I should say, ask any questions that you need answered before Wednesday. You want those answered before you start working on Wednesday. So go into Google Classroom. At the top, you should say what questions do you need answered before Wednesday and go ahead and ask your question now. All right, you've asked your questions. You have checked all of your work in Noodle tools. You're happy with all of your note cards and all of your resources. It's time to work on your visual. Okay, so you may go get started and continue on your visual. Please share it with Miss Jones if you'd like some feedback. Okay, whatever system you have, whether you're using a Google or a Canva, if you can share it with me, please do. Those of you that are doing videos that need editing, you could share a script with me. You could share notes with me. You could share questions with me. So there's a lot of options for how to get some feedback before Friday. So you are ready to begin. And if you're able magically somehow to get all that done, you can go ahead and go to CNN 10.